Hello everyone, welcome to channel Slumber Stories, a panoramic view of twilight descending over ancient Rome. The sun bleeds gold over the marble steps of the Senate. Statues of emperors stare into a hazy horizon, the air thick with smoke and fading glory, every rooftop glowing terracotta beneath the last rays of empire. Along the Via Sacra, merchants extinguish their torches one by one. The orange flames flicker against half-empty stalls and weary faces. A city of shadows and whispers beneath crumbling arches, the streets trembling between life and dream. An old baker and a stonemason rest under dim torchlight, their hands dusted in flour and marble powder, their eyes turned toward the still night air, symbols of labor and loss amid the ghostly beauty of decline. A view of the Tiber under the moon, its surface rippling like tarnished silver. Fishermen cast nets into the dark, their lanterns glowing faintly while statues of forgotten gods loom above, blurred in reflection and memory. A solitary priest in a vast temple of shadows. The altar smoulders with the last embers of incense, his thin figure bathed in a trembling red-gold glow, as weary marble gods look down, silent and disbelieving. The final image. The city from afar, the seven hills veiled in night, crimson clouds fading to indigo, the flicker of fires like dying stars. Rome poised between dusk and eternity, the whisper of its myth rising into the dark. Inside a dim Roman forge, a weary blacksmith stands before an orange-red flame that flickers like fading faith. His face glows with sweat and sorrow, tools scattered around him, sparks flying into darkness, where the shadow of an eagle standard hangs, ghost-like and forgotten. A humble teacher writes figures on a wax tablet beneath a smoking oil lamp. Two small children watch in silence, bread beside their hands, the room filled with dust motes that drift like lost memories of wisdom. Cracked walls lined with half-legible Latin verses. A woman stirs lentils in a clay pot while her husband studies foreign silver coins under the lamplight. Their faces glow pale, uncertain. Behind them, a tapestry of faded Roman laurels hints at the intrusion of new worlds into the old. Beggars gather beneath a crumbling aqueduct at dusk. The moss-clad arches rise above them like the ribs of a dying god. A crippled veteran gestures faintly toward the horizon, as others huddle near a flickering fire, their cloaks stitched from patchwork hope. High on the hill, the patricians feast under candlelight. Thin wine glimmers in silver cups. Servants move like shadows through draped halls. The marble busts of ancestors look down sternly, as if guarding illusions of eternity. In the city's silence, children play among broken columns while a lone singer stands at a crossroads beneath the stars. His voice rises over the ruins, carrying both sorrow and resilience, the sound of a fading empire that still remembers how to live. A Roman household at twilight, a family huddled before a dim hearth. Cracked frescoes of forgotten gods flicker in half-light. Children gaze at the trembling flame, while outside the window the vast city sleeps under a violet sky. An old man sits alone beside a dying fire, 2 cups on the table, one untouched. The glow of embers reflects on his face as he whispers to the shadows, believing the spirit of his lost wife still listens. A mother mending a tunic by lamplight, her needle flashing like a small star. The father pours a thread of olive oil into the lamp as their children eat simple bread and lentils, the room golden with tenderness and quiet fatigue. In a courtyard shared by the poor, families gather around a communal brazier. Sparks rise into the darkness like prayers, smoke curling around faces lit by laughter, wine, and the sound of a flute echoing between the worn stone walls. The deserted palaces of the Palatine under moonlight, cold marble halls where crows perch on statues, the frost gleaming on silent floors while far below, tiny windows glow like scattered constellations of human warmth. A father and child at the final hearth of Rome. He coaxes a single coal to life as she watches, her face lit by its last red glow. Outside, the city lies in darkness, yet the faint scent of smoke drifts upward like hope refusing to die. A misty dawn over ancient Rome, grey light creeps across terracotta rooftops, dust hangs in the still air. The once grand forum lies empty, except for a stray dog pacing between moss-covered columns, the silence heavy with remembrance. A humble herb seller arranges thyme and nettle upon a cracked marble pedestal, her weathered hands, the faded columns, and her thin voice calling to passers-by evoke the fragile dignity of survival amid ruin. An old priest sweeps the steps of a half-collapsed temple, sunlight catching the dust around him like gold. Behind him, marble gods fade into shadow while two old women pass by, crossing themselves with gestures born of two faiths intertwined. Children play among broken tiles near a dried fountain. They build miniature fortresses as adults watch silently, the laughter of youth bright against cracked statues and pale stone, the last echo of innocence in a tired city. Rain falls over the ruins at dusk. Candles flicker beneath archways. A half-sunburst symbol glows wet on the wall, and thunder hums beyond the hills as Rome seems to shimmer cleansed, reborn, and yet endlessly old. Under moonlight, watchmen patrol empty streets. Torches glint against puddles reflecting arches and statues. The city, silver and still, haunted by invisible voices whispering through the wind, the eternal murmur of dust and memory. A pale, cold dawn over Rome. Marble domes gleam like frost beneath a washed-out sky. Market stalls stand half-empty, and vendors linger in silence as the city exhales its hunger. Beauty and emptiness intertwined in the mist. A mother and child wait before a bread stall. The woman's coin gleams dull in the weak morning light, while the baker, weary and hollow-eyed, cuts loaves smaller than ever. Faces of the hungry crowd blur into one shared patience. A beggar sits in the shadows of the forum, wrapped in the tattered purple of a forgotten uniform. Rats dart through mossy marble, bold and unashamed, while cracked statues loom above like indifferent witnesses to decline. Men wade through the Tiber's muddy shallows, hauling broken amphorae and fragments of driftwood. One pries open a sealed barrel, only to find sand. Their laughter rises in disbelief beneath the dim orange haze of dusk. In a cramped courtyard, poor families huddle around a fire made of shattered furniture. A soldier shares bread with a stranger. An old woman halves her last apple with a child, the glow of embers painting compassion on tired faces. Under a marble archway at midnight, a man kneels beside a crumbling wall, praying. The stars shimmer faintly above the dark Tiber, and behind him the silent city breathes hungry, enduring, still miraculously alive. An abandoned Roman temple under moonlight, cracked statues watching as a single candle burns before them. Incense smoke curls through broken columns, half shadows of gods, half whispers of something new stirring beneath the marble. Deep beneath the city, the catacombs glow with torchlight. Weary men and women gather in secret, faces lit by trembling fire as they pass a simple cup hand-to-hand symbols of fish and crosses carved faintly into the damp stone walls. A Roman soldier, kneeling alone in a small, dark room. His armor lies folded beside him, while his hand traces a cross into the dust. Through a nearby window, the starlight spills across cracked plaster like silent forgiveness. Rain falls over Rome, washing the grime from statues where eagles once perched. Faint crosses appear in their place as lightning flickers over rooftops, and a father leads his child through puddles, whispering that some fires burn only for themselves. Inside a half-collapsed chapel, a lone priest kneels before a wooden altar. Wind blows through broken windows, the single flame of his torch bending but unextinguished, casting holy light over decay and devotion intertwined. An ethereal vision of two Romes overlapping at dusk, marble temples glowing beside candlelit chapels, senators and monks crossing the same street, one carrying laurel, the other a cross, the city suspended between empire and eternity. A cold dawn spilling gold over empty workshops and silent forges. Rusted tools lie beneath a film of dust, broken arches, and half-collapsed colonnades framing the ghosts of labour long stilled, as sunlight falls like benediction upon forgotten craft. A weary blacksmith in a crumbling courtyard, face lit by a weak forge flame. Sparks drift like dying stars around his hammer as he mends a farmer's plough instead of a soldier's sword, the echo of his blows lost in the vast stillness of decline. A sculptor's dim studio, dust-moted light, illuminating a marble angel child half-carved from a flawed block, his chisel poised mid-air, the faint trace of faith in his eyes as he works without commission, shaping beauty only for remembrance. Masons dismantle the ruined amphitheatre under a grey sky, fallen columns repurposed for humble homes, a mule cart piled with broken stone, a symbol of quiet survival as empire recycles its own bones. A tavern of labourers at twilight, carpenters, masons, and potters raise cups among the arches, faces glowing in candlelight, the air thick with dust, laughter, and melancholy, a brotherhood of hands remembering their vanished glory. At night, a lone craftsman stands on a balcony overlooking the skyline. The ruined city glows faintly beneath the stars, temples and domes silhouetted against darkness, his hand resting on iron rail as he whispers thanks to the wind. The crumbling gates of Rome under a grey dawn. Travellers approach with carts and children, their faces weary but hopeful, while above them the ancient walls stand streaked with ivy, the meeting of past grandeur and quiet migration. A lone Roman sentry on a weathered watchtower. Fires flicker in the valley below, where families gather around campfires, the orange light reflecting in his tired eyes as he listens to the murmured songs of a people crossing into history. Inside Rome, a marketplace of mingled worlds, a Gallic merchant beside a Roman baker, a soldier, and a woman from the north exchanging goods beneath torn awnings, children with mixed accents laughing as marble dust drifts in sunlight. At the city gate, during a storm, rain pouring over stone, travellers kneel in the mud before Roman guards, their wooden idols resting at their feet, torches glowing in the wet night as the gates open without triumph or fear. In a countryside of transformation, thatched huts stand beside old Roman villas. Farmers till the same soil in harmony, Gothic songs blending with Latin prayers beneath a pale winter sky where smoke and mist entwine. The ancient gate overgrown with ivy, its inscription times Roma Eterna times half faded. Children of many tongues play in the grass below as an old man watches from the road, smiling softly at a city reborn through those who once stood outside its walls. A dawn-lit landscape of ruins. Mist drifts across broken roads and toppled columns, where traders barter in half-Latin tongues. The city's name fading like worn paint on marble walls, its grandeur surviving only as echo. A village built within the skeleton of a fortress. A farmer ploughs his field with an iron blade once a legion's sword, while his wife bakes bread in an oven made from old Roman bricks stamped times SPQR*. Symbols now reduced to decoration. A monastery's candlelit scriptorium. Monks bent over vellum, copying ghostly Latin words they no longer understand. The letters glowing like sacred relics amid shadow and smoke, the last breath of an ancient tongue preserved by faith. Pilgrims wander through the overgrown Colosseum. Cattle graze beneath arches once filled with roaring crowds. Birds nest in statues' mouths, while a mother tells her child softly that this was where the world began. An old priest lights a single candle before the cracked walls of the Senate House. His flame reveals half-erased inscriptions, the marble etched with fragments of forgotten names, his whispered prayers lost in the vast silence. A lone traveller stands atop a ruined wall beneath a silver moon. Below him life stirs, barking dogs, laughter, the cry of a child, and he smiles faintly as the nameless city breathes again, eternal not in name, but in being. A soft dawn over the ruins of Rome. Mist glows gold above broken arches and ivy-clad domes. Birds nesting in temple crevices, as sunlight reveals marble streaked with dew, the first breath of life, returning to ancient stone. Children play among the columns of a ruined courtyard. Vines climb freely along cracked frescoes. Bright fabrics hang like banners of rebirth. Mothers working calmly, while laughter rises where once senators spoke. In a monastery garden, monks tend rows of wheaten herbs under morning light. One pauses over a parchment to copy Virgil's verse, the candle beside him flickering as bees hum around the cloister arches. A small countryside chapel beside an ancient spring. A priest with mason's hands rings a bell as shepherds and farmers gather, the valley glowing with sunrise and the ruins of a Roman fort beyond. An old man and a boy sit beside the Tiber at dusk. The boy holds a worn Roman coin while golden water ripples before them, reeds swaying gently where ships once docked, the air thick with memory and forgiveness. Night descends upon the reborn city. Scattered lamplight mirrors the constellations above, smoke rising from hearths, ivy and ruins, gleaming silver under the stars, the eternal city breathing again, serene and awake. A sweeping view of Rome's ruins at sunset. Aqueducts stretch across green valleys, amphitheatres yawn open to the sky, and flocks of birds circle the leaning columns the city, glowing like the ribs of a sleeping giant beneath a fading golden light. A shepherd with his goats wandering through the overgrown forum. Weeds burst through marble cracks. Goats graze beneath toppled pedestals etched with half-erased Latin. and a soft wind carries the ghosts of voices that once ruled the world. A village built within the ruins. Children play among fallen statues, tossing stones through hollow eyes while sunlight spills through broken arches, their laughter rising like rebirth in the heart of ancient stone. A lone monk resting beside the towering baths of Caracalla. Parchment in hand, he recites a Roman verse to the wind, moss streaking the colossal walls as he whispers. Even stone remembers song, before fading into the distance. Inside a chapel built upon a pagan temple, candles burn before a cross carved into stone once bearing Jupiter's name. A priest gently traces the old symbols, blessing both faiths in the golden hush of reconciliation. The moonlight glows upon silent ruins, arches gleam silver, owls call from roofless basilicas, and through the marble dust drifts a soft, invisible rhythm, the echo of centuries breathing through the heart of eternal Rome. Beneath a moonlit Rome, ghostly senators and soldiers drift through the broken columns. Torches shimmer on marble as travelers glance back in fear, the ruins alive with footsteps that belong to no one, whispers weaving with wind. A monastery scriptorium at midnight. Monks copy ancient texts while one lifts his head, startled by a faint glow beyond the window, a golden light spilling from the ruins, steady and divine, as if the city dreams through them. Children in a riverside village press their ears to ancient stones after a storm. Lightning flashes across the sky, rain glistens on carved marble faces, and the elders whisper that Jupiter's voice still rumbles beneath the ground. A painter's vision of mythical Rome. Gleaming domes pierce clouds, rivers of gold wind through marble streets. Angels read from luminous scrolls in palaces of light the imagined city, reborn through dream and devotion. A young pilgrim on the Palatine Hill at dusk. The ruins glow with an inner flame. His guide beside him smiles faintly, the air filled with faint unseen music as the eternal city breathes through dust and memory. Rome beneath the stars, half real, half myth. Statues gleam with dew, torches fade to embers, and the silence itself seems alive, an invisible choir singing softly of empire, eternity, and the stories that outlive both. A monastery perched on a mist-shrouded cliff above a grey northern sea. Dawn light filters through fog as bells toll softly, candles glowing in narrow windows, tiny flames guarding the memory of a fallen empire. Inside a cold stone scriptorium, monks bend over parchment. Their breath clouds the air, ink glistens on quills, and candlelight reflects from gold-leafed letters an intimate symphony of silence, faith, and preservation. A weary scribe named Aurelian sits by a small window facing the sea. The horizon vanishes into mist while his steady hand shapes delicate Latin letters, a fragment of Virgil whispered between strokes. In the monastery garden, monks tend herbs and wheat under pale sunlight. One gives bread to a starving traveller at the gate, while others labour quietly, faith made visible in simple acts of care. Night inside the cloister, manuscripts stacked like treasures, candlelight shimmering across rows of vellum. Monks sing softly as snow falls beyond the window, their voices mingling with the turning of a page. A timeless scene of endurance, the abbey aglow amid a frozen landscape. Bells ringing through fog as monks walk between stone arches, carrying torches and books, their silhouettes guardians of civilization's last flame. A monastery engulfed in orange fire beneath a starless sky. Monks flee clutching scorched scrolls while pages lift like glowing birds into the wind, the ashes of knowledge swirling above a world too quiet to weep. A scriptorium after the fire. A lone monk sits before a jar of ashes, his face lit by the last candle. Behind him, blackened shelves stand like tombstones to thought, and smoke curls around him like a silent prayer. A dim study where a scribe scrapes ink from parchment, faint ghost letters shimmer beneath new prayers, a palimpsest of memory and loss, as if forgotten sentences bleed faintly through time's veil. A young monk named Marcus kneels beside a sealed chest in the glow of a hearth. Strange scrolls lie open before him, their symbols glowing faintly gold, his expression torn between awe and fear of forbidden knowledge. Wind whirls through the ruins of a burned library at dusk. Fragments of parchment dance among fallen columns, each scrap catching moonlight like wings, whispers of words once spoken to eternity. At dawn, a monk writes by candlelight in a cold cloister. His hand moves steadily across a page while the morning bells toll through fog, a symbol of defiance, the quiet victory of ink against oblivion. A traveller crossing the Alps under grey winter skies. His horse walks over the hidden stones of an old Roman road, snow dusting the surface like marble veins, every hoofbeat echoing with the ghost rhythm of legions long gone. Villages built within ancient ruins, farmers till the earth beside vine-covered aqueducts, children play where amphitheatres crumble, and a chapel glows within the shell of a temple life, quietly nesting inside empire's bones. Inside Byzantium's golden halls, emperors robed in purple kneel beneath mosaics of light. Domes shimmer like sunrise, while soldiers bear banners crowned, not with eagles but with radiant crosses, the empire reborn in spirit. A medieval coronation beneath candlelight, the Pope crowns Charlemagne, the Frankish king, as Time's Carolus Magnus *. The crowd lifts torches in awe as shadows of vanished Caesars dance upon the basilica walls. In a quiet Italian valley, an ancient stone bridge spans a silver river. Villagers hang garlands across its arches in spring, calling it Time's the Emperor's Crossing *, a tribute to a builder no one remembers but all revere. At twilight, broken Roman roads stretch like pale ribbons through golden fields. Travellers follow them toward a horizon of fading sun, the wind murmuring through distant arches, Time's Roma non moritur *. Rome does not die. A vast Gothic cathedral rising beneath a dawn sky. Arches and domes shimmer in golden light. Latin inscriptions carved into marble by hands that no longer know their meaning. The spirit of Rome, hidden in the symmetry of faith. Inside a medieval monastery, a pope robed in white and gold sits beneath a mosaic halo. Behind him, marble columns recall the Senate's order, edicts transformed into prayers as Rome's law kneels before eternity. A scholar in Bologna by lamplight unrolls an ancient parchment of Justinian's code. Golden letters gleam like veins through darkness, his awed face reflected in the ink as forgotten order awakens to shape a new world. An emperor kneels before the Pope in candlelight, as a crown descends upon his head. Banners bearing Roman eagles flutter in incense smoke, the rebirth of empire enacted beneath a halo of history's glow. A Renaissance city seen from above at twilight. Domes and colonnades mirror ancient Rome, bridges curve like laurel wreaths across a glowing river. And in the window of a high tower a scholar writes, "Continuity, not conquest." The final image, stars over Europe's sleeping cities. Forgotten Roman roads glimmer faintly beneath the earth, and the night wind hums softly through stone arches, whispering one eternal name, Time's Roma. A twilight view of the fading forum. Goats graze among marble ruins, grass grows between cracked stones, and vendors with small lamps sell bread beneath arches, patched with wood, the quiet pulse of a world unaware it is ending. An elderly potter shaping coarse clay in a dim workshop. Behind him, the shadows of amphorae line the wall like ghosts of empire, his steady hands spinning the same rhythm that once served emperors' tables. A teacher gathers children in a sunlit courtyard, overgrown with ivy. They trace fading Latin letters carved in ancient stone, their small fingers brushing S, P, Q, R. As she explains softly, it means they once believed they were one. A lone farmer ploughs beside a ruined aqueduct. Its arches stretch like the ribs of a sleeping giant across a golden valley, rain glimmering on the stones as memory flows where water once did. Evening settles over the city. Smoke rises through roofless basilicas as lovers walk hand in hand beneath moonlit arches, their laughter echoing where triumph once marched, tenderness outlasting empire. At sunset by the Tiber, a teacher stands watching the river. Beneath the water lie broken statues, a marble hand, a face turned upward, the empire sinking gently into time as ripples shimmer like memory reborn. A golden Roman sunset spreads across 7 hills. The Colosseum glows like an ember, its arches breathing shadow and light while the wind drifts softly through them, the empire's sigh dissolving into evening. Along the Tiber, fishermen haul nets under fading light. The river mirrors the pink sky and the ruins behind them, their silhouettes humble against palaces now swallowed by dusk. A barefoot boy runs through the empty forum. Laughter echoes between fallen columns while a monk sweeping the chapel steps pauses, the air shimmering with the innocence of sound in an ancient silence. Inside a dim house, a woman lights a lamp for her husband's return. The oil burns low but steady, the glow reflected in her daughter's eyes as she whispers, "Because the dark must never forget we're still here." An old man tends roses among marble ruins on the Palatine Hill. Twilight wraps around his garden as he gazes toward the hollow skyline and murmurs, "I miss the noise." The final vision: Rome at night under a silver moon, chimneys smoking, fires glowing like fallen stars. The ruins serene and eternal as the city sleeps beneath the quiet grace of its last, endless sunset. A vast cosmic landscape of history, breathing golden light pouring over rising cities and fading ruins. Empires shimmer like tides, the rhythm of creation and collapse written across the earth, as if time itself inhales and exhales. A lone scholar stands amid Roman ruins at twilight. Marble columns glow beneath a violet sky as he traces his hand across the stone, feeling the hum of forgotten voices still alive within the dust. The Renaissance dawns in radiant colour artists painting beneath arches of light, their canvases filled with rediscovered gods and geometry, the ghost of Rome reborn through imagination and brushstroke. A spiral of civilizations turning through centuries, temples, cathedrals, skyscrapers rising from the same soil. Each generation's reflection glows faintly within the curved mirror of time's eternal return. Children play among ruins at sunset. They stack stones into towers, topple them, and laugh, their small hands echoing the oldest ritual of creation, innocence renewing what history forgets. A starlit night over a sleeping city. Domes, ruins, and glass towers glimmer together beneath the same constellations. The wind carrying the eternal whisper of stone, rise, fall, return. A small stone house glowing with candlelight. A mother, father, and child sit close beside the wavering flame, the walls made from ancient Roman stone. Outside, the dark hills whisper with wind and memory. A father telling his child the legend of a city of light. Her face shines golden as she listens, eyes wide, the candle bending toward his voice as if drawn to the story's warmth. The Colosseum under moonlight. Its arches frame constellations where crowds once roared. Owls perch on its rim, and grass shimmers silver between the stones, the empire dreaming in its sleep. A solitary monk in a monastery, illuminated by a single candle. He closes his manuscript and exhales, unaware that the ink he preserved will travel through centuries like a silent prayer of endurance. At dawn, a family's window opens to cool air and rising birdsong. The father gazes toward distant ruins, as the sun gilds broken arches in gold, the first breath of another Rome awakening. The final image: a candle's smoke curling into morning light. Footsteps and laughter echo through sunlit streets, the eternal city alive again, its story carried forever in the quiet flame of remembrance.